The book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 1. I will stand upon my watch, and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the Lord answered me and said, Write the vision, and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak, and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachakodash. Double honors to my apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who are the apostles and elders of Asherallah. Peace and salutations to the Bayaf Dawadah, the house of David, the hopeful elect. I'm not going to say too much. I'm going to play this video, but the mark of the beast, the C-hip is here.
So I'll ask all of you right now, let me ask you a question. If the government told you that you needed to get a microchip, not even if that was your choice, you needed to get a microchip implant with all of your health data on it, including vaccine information, vaccine passport information, would you do it, or what would you do? Would you revolt? Would you say absolutely not? We've got so many people here in the chat weighing in on it. I think overwhelmingly the answer is no. This might sound like a conspiracy theory, but it's actually happening. As far back as 2018, NPR had a report that said the microchips are about the size of a single grain of rice and were becoming so popular at the time that one of the main companies producing these microchips, producing them, reported difficulty keeping up with demand because people wanted them so much. They also covered a Bloomberg report about how these used the same backdoor technology that was being used by the CIA and the Pentagon. Take a listen to this NPR report.
Bloomberg has a big story out today about a tiny microchip, not much bigger than a grain of rice. The chip has been found in the type of computer servers used by at least 30 major American companies, including Apple and major banks. Also, servers used by the Pentagon and the CIA.
Sorry, I cut off there at the end. The Pentagon and the CIA. In fact, Swedish workers were accepting this pre-COVID. In 2017, Swedish workers in Sweden were saying, hey, yeah, we'll go for this because this will make our lives easier. We'll be able to take the subway, be able to ride transit, be able to pay for vending machines and all of this stuff. In 2017, a railway company in Sweden began allowing travelers to load their ticket information onto the microchip that was implanted into their bodies. And according to the BBC, railway conductors were then able to use smartphones to detect the chip and confirm the travelers' tickets. And Swedish people went nuts for them and started injecting themselves so they could hop on rail cars faster. And they had a run on these chips and they needed more of them. Now, stop me if you know where this is going. Like railway, paying for transit tickets, that's one thing. But stop me if you know where this is going. Let's take a look at Newsweek. Here's their Newsweek's cover story. People get microchips implanted that include vaccine records amid new COVID restrictions. Now, at the time we did this story at the turn of the year, when people were saying, yeah, we want to have easier access to these vaccine passports, so we're going to inject them into our hands so that we can walk around, we can take flights easier, and it's going to be so much easier. And the wider trend of inserting the under-the-skin microchips contain personal information has developed over the past few years, gaining popularity in Sweden. People there began using the chips to gain access to their homes, offices, gyms, without any use of their handheld keys. So here is NBC News covering this story in Sweden on these microchips. Watch.
When Elias Brotberger goes to work, he doesn't need ID. And he doesn't need money. In fact, much of what he needs to get through the day is hidden right there, just below the surface, in his hand.
Like to touch it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, weird. Yeah, it's like a grain of rice.
Yeah, a grain of rice.
Embedded in his hand is a microchip that serves as his keys, his ID, and his wallet.
Yeah, it's all in chip, so I use it like to get around the building.
Buy snacks.
Yeah, exactly.
And she says, yeah, hey, for the fun of television, let's go buy some snacks. Then they go to the vending machines and he buys her some snacks, and he's fine with that. And so are Swedes. Again, stop me if you know where this is going. Now we have the story from Sweden where chips implanted from Swedish developers are supporting digital health pass storage under your skin. So see how it slowly starts? Take a look at this. It slowly starts with the railway passage, then it goes to healthcare, and now it's going to be even more for vaccines. And then again, here's the latest story overnight out of China, which is China unifying their health system. Basically, here's how Hong Kong's new China-inspired health code would work, and the Chinese government now basically unifying all of their health databases, so they'll be able to scan your vaccine passports, and it instantly goes to the main central hub, so they're able to track and know exactly everything that you're doing at all times. Would you guys opt for this? What do you guys think about this?
You probably don't know this, but there's a secret government program that will allow you to make six figures from the comfort of your own.
Everything that you're doing at all times. Would you guys opt for this? What do you guys think about this?
I mean, if you're in Sweden, maybe, right? I mean, it's understandable to me why the Swedes are okay with it, because they have high level of trust in their government. And even when you look at the pandemic, Sweden was the pariah of the pandemic, right? Because they refused to go along with all of the lockdowns and the COVID passes. So, I can understand why Swedes say, why not? You know, there's nothing to fear. Well, they might not have anything to fear with their government, but many of us do. The governments that were implementing mandates and saying you can't do X, Y, Z, we're going under lockdown, you're not allowed to travel. And I even know in Russia, I have some Russian friends that when they went into lockdown, they had QR codes that were installed on their phones, and the QR code would indicate whether or not they were allowed to go a certain distance on the subway. Wow. So because they had like restrictions on you could only go to work, only if you worked in certain essential sectors. And so they actually use those QR codes on their phones in order to restrict, and people just were like, I guess I'm going to have to walk, where I want to go. So, and that, of course, in many areas, if they had the ability to move to that digital pass on the phones, they would have done. I mean, they tried, but it just didn't work out here in the United States. But yeah, I mean, obviously that's where that microchip is headed. But on the flip side, there's a lot of people who would love it. People that are older, they can't remember their medical records when their doctors say, hey, what medicines are you on? And what are your recent, what have you done lately? And they're like, I don't know, check my chip. I mean, I guess you could see that, right?
Sure, I can see of all kinds of useful things if you trust the ecosystem. And it's not just trusting the government of Sweden, though. We now know that all governments hack each other for the most part, right? We know that the United States hacks into the private phone records of people and heads of state in other countries. So, if you're Swedish, that's fine, but you better hope that the American government doesn't find an exploit for it, because then they're going to track you too.
Well, I have so many questions too about what's in these chips, right? We know, rare earth minerals that are, we don't even have recycling programs for them because they're so toxic. So we're going to put that inside of our bodies.
Right. I want to ask, remember our acupuncturist, Dr. Butler, who said, when I was pregnant, he said, you shouldn't wear the Apple Watch because of the frequency. Can you imagine what an acupuncturist would say about
this grain of rice that has,
Right. My next thought went completely sci-fi and thought, well, can it teach me Cantonese? Can it, like the Matrix?
I think that has to be in your brain in order for them to do that. But I know they are working on that. They are working on microchips that would go in your brain. But again, everything is always developed under this benevolent, for benevolent reasons, well, we're going to put the microchip in your brain to help prevent Alzheimer's. So that sounds like a really good thing, or to help you if you're epileptic, or if you've got any sort of other neurological illnesses, then maybe the microchip in your brain would help you. But yeah, you could definitely see where that technology could be used in a very sinister way that is extremely limiting. I mean, if you can only pay for things using the microchip in your hand, and the government doesn't want you to buy certain types of products, could you imagine? I mean, you get cut off.
You get cut off and you can't do anything then. And this is why there's this movement back to cash. I used to be very pro, hey, get rid of cash. Cash is trash. That used to be something I used to say because I'm an investor and I believe in, in passive income and buying actual assets. But when the actual physical cash started to get vilified by governments, right? That there's COVID on their paper money. Don't use cash. Go to digital. Go contactless. There's a reason, right? And when you started to see this come out of the World Health Organization, you started to see this consolidation of power around.
In conjunction with these new tax laws that want you to report all transactions down to a $12 Venmo, right? Okay, these things now are very convenient.
And she, even in that NBC piece, I don't know if you caught it, she said not even having to carry any cash at all. Like, you don't have to carry any cash, nothing at all that you carry. It's all right in your wrist. It's a government implanted chip that lets you do everything. To me, I'd say, hell no. Hell no. Give me my cash. I don't trust you guys at all. I know where this is going. And to me, it's all a consolidation of power. I mean, the tracking, knowing where people are, being able to find and monitor all of their transactions.
Right, and I also just wouldn't want the first model, right? Because how technology advances so much. Like, I don't know if you saw the man in Italy who, we have a picture here, but I put it in late. Can we pull it up on Clayton's laptop? Oh, no, it's not there. The man who...
There he is, yeah.
Who tattooed his QR code for his vaccine on his wrist. Just to be able to flash it around Europe. But those QR codes expire. When he did this, we didn't know that at the time. And so now he's got an expired QR code for his vaccine as a permanent tattoo, right? So that would be another one of my concerns is these things will be updated.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Let us know in the chat what you would do with your vaccine data on microchips. Would you do it? Would you not? Let us know in the comments below.
I mean, there are other ways. And all the sci-fi movies have it on retinal scan, which is then not implanted, but you see I've gone full sci-fi on this.
Or even if it's your fingerprint, even if they don't have to, like you're saying, retinal scan or a thumbprint type thing, it's all very, to move to that sort of system where it's connected to your body is obviously really highly problematic. But of course they're going to try to do it because during the COVID pandemic, when people were needing to use their vaccine passports, people were faking them. And the government knows that they were cracking down on those fake, cards. Right. And so I would imagine that they are trying to figure out how do we prevent people from being able to do that, which is scary, very scary.
But then I hope at the same time that you manage to prevent hacking, of these people's health data, banking data. Yeah. Like my chip was hacked. Oh, we need to send you a new chip. Oh, that means I need to get another injection? I need to take the old one out?
No, they take it out like in Stranger Things.
Oh, yeah.
Where she just...
11.
I would hope more like Total Recall.
Oh, yeah.
Total Recall, where they pulled it. So David did put up a poll. David did put up in chat asking, would you allow the government to microchip you for convenience? And of 2,200 votes, we had 2% of them that were yes, 2% at depends on where they stick it, and 95% are hell no.
All right. Thank you for that 2% vote, Dr. Fauci. We're glad you're watching.
Well, today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at